All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the world-famous Tipitinas. Thank you so much to Tipitinas for allowing us to use the space. Thank you to Nugs.net for the usage of the cameras. And I hope you are watching this on Tipitinas.tv, our media empire. I'm going to jump in and go ahead and introduce our guest tonight. My guest is one of my favorite musicians in New Orleans. He's been quietly kicking ass and melting faces for over 15 years and living like a rock star without having to put in all the face time as someone who is leading the band when he's off the stage. He plays guitar with some friends in this little up-and-coming band called Trombone Shorty in Orleans Avenue. I hope I'm saying that correctly.
Correct.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Pete Murano.
How you doing?
The up-and-coming band. So you guys, you're going to make it, huh?
I mean,
you thing?
You never know.
Yeah? No, I think you guys got a hot little number or two that you might.
We're doing our thing.
Yeah, for sure. So, Pete, let's dive right in.
Right in.
Born April 24th, 1984, Jazz Fest birthday, man.
Jazz Fest birthday.
Has that been kind of a pain in the ass, or?
It's fun.
Is it?
It's fun. Yeah.
Everyone's partying around your birthday. That's always
Everyone's
good.
partying around the birthday. Everyone's invited, so that's
Yeah,
a good thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
You probably have to play and work on your birthday a lot, though, too, huh?
That's true, but it's one of my favorite places to work.
That's true.
So
yeah, I can understand that.
That helps.
Absolutely. Not born in New Orleans. You moved around a little bit before you came here. Where are you from originally?
So I was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Okay.
When I was
that hotbed of funk.
Hotbed, right? And then when I was 9, I moved to Yorktown, New York. And then when I was 12, 13 years old, my family moved to St. Louis.
Okay.
And then when I was 18, I moved to New Orleans. I've been there ever since.
All right.
Yeah. Been here ever since.
Been here ever since. That's great. We are in New Orleans, by the way. Let me ask you this: Freaky Pete, the moniker. Where did that come from? Is that real, or is that just something I saw on a Tumblr page? Does anyone call you Freaky Pete?
It was, in the early days, it was adopted from the original Freaky Pete, who plays in Rebirth Brass Band.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, was there another Pete that was in Orleans Avenue
There
before
was
you?
No, there was not. There was only one Pete in Orleans Avenue.
All right.
But there was also one in Rebirth.
All right.
And when the nickname was kind of being tossed around a little bit, it's funny, I would go to the Maple Leaf on a Tuesday night, and you'd see me go, "Where you at, namesake?" I said, "All right." So we're cool. And then, it's not really, I don't hear it when I'm walking down the street, per se.
No, I wouldn't
But
think so.
It was sort of a local tradition. I just had to carry the torch for a while, and I was happy to do so.
Yeah. I mean, I guess not that many people still call you that. It's just a random
That's
thing.
true.
I
But I
found
will
online.
answer to it.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? Do you have any other nicknames at all?
No official ones.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. We'll leave it at that. Your name, Murano. I assume of Italian descent.
Indeed.
Have you been to the Isle of Murano?
I actually have not.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I was close. I was close to it one time.
Venice?
Yeah. We went to Venice. We were on the road, and we had a day off in Venice, which was really an amazing time. And I did not make it to the island because, on the road, it's a time thing. Everything is a time thing. But still had a really good time over there.
I mean, you don't have time for like a 30-minute kayak ride or whatever it is, like a kilometer across a lagoon or something?
Not that day.
All right. Well, I've heard it's lovely, and they have phenomenal glass blowing and whatever else. Too.
Yes, I did buy some of the glass while I was there.
All right.
I bought some of the glass, and I hear on Christmas Eve over there, the guys take the eels that they're going to cook and cook it in the same oven that the glass goes in. Mm-hmm.
Do you normally like eel? Is that something you're into?
I actually do like eel.
Okay. All right. You do cook a bit too, right?
I cook quite a bit.
It's funny. So I have this written down for later on. I was going to save it.
You said we're going to get right into it. Here we go.
Yeah, totally. Just the food thing. Even though on this program, we've been interviewing a lot of musicians and people of the music industry. Food always comes up. This is just a food kind of town.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk more about food later on.
Sure.
But I saw a common friend of ours, Ed Williams, who plays pedal steel in a band called the Revivalists.
Good band.
You've heard of them. Okay, that's good.
Heard of them.
Yeah. I guess he follows you on Instagram, and he had a couple questions for you. One of them was, what's that recipe for that seared tuna? So,
the recipe for the seared tuna.
yeah. Do you want to share that with the world?
I will share. Ed, this one's for you.
For Ed. Ed, I hope you're taking notes.
So, very easy recipe.
All right.
Right? You can do it on the grill. You can do it in a pan. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Wherever you're doing it, get it nice and hot. Get your tuna. Put some kind of oil on both sides.
What kind of oil do you prefer?
I like olive oil, but you could use vegetable oil, canola oil, any
right.
kind of oil. Just get some oil on the tuna.
Okay.
Right? Give it a little salt. Give it a little pepper. You can play with it if you want. If you want to put garlic powder on there, if you want to put Tony Chachere's on there, whatever. Then, your pan's nice and hot. Your grill's nice and hot. Your tuna is seasoned and oiled. Couple minutes on one side, flip it. Couple minutes on the other side, and that's it.
So you're telling me it's the most basic ass recipe of all time?
Yes, yes. That's what I'm saying.
Panicking over this. So.
Ed doesn't panic.
No, you're right. He does not panic. But he was very adamant about knowing how the hell what that recipe is.
That's how it's done. And then the thing is, you want to when you slice it, you just go against the grain.
Yeah, that's pretty common. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not for fish only. I think that's pretty common.
In general. If we were gonna cut this table, I'd go right here.
Absolutely. We're not cutting the table. Do you know how much these tables cost to make?
No. I'm in the tuna business.
All right, we'll talk about food a little bit more. Let's talk about back home, your family. Do they still live in St. Louis?
Yes.
Okay. All
yes,
right.
My parents and my youngest brother live in St. Louis.
And he is a drummer, if I'm not mistaken.
He is a drummer.
Correct? All
yeah.
right.
He plays in several groups around St. Louis, and he also tours a bit with a band called the Mighty Pines.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are they any good?
They are good.
All right.
Yeah.
What kind of band are they?
Bluegrass, but I would say it's kind of funky bluegrass.
I was going to say, it's
There's
not common for a bluegrass band to have a drummer, you know?
Right. And so it's, I would say it's rooted in bluegrass, but they mix it up with various styles, and it's cool. They're good guys. They're good bands. They just made a record recently that Steve Berlin produced, which is pretty good. Yeah, definitely worth checking out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mighty Pines, everybody.
Mighty Pines.
Check them out. Is there any other musicians in your family? I mean, he's your younger brother. Was there any like parents, uncles, aunts, grandparents, someone that was an influence?
You know, my dad was always very into music. He played a little bit of accordion when he was a kid.
Interesting.
But nothing beyond that, nothing formal. But the guy's got an ear.
All right.
You could tell this was very
so,
right. And my uncle played the guitar.
All right.
He gave me my first guitar, showed me the first things that I learned, and the two of them were big influences on me. And what's funny is their father, my grandfather, he never played anything or sang professionally. But when I talk to him, he'll hear a song and he'll say, I remember when this came out, I was doing this and that in 1947. But the kind of mind that he hears music with, you can tell he's got the thing.
That's wild.
You know, it didn't get applied.
Yeah,
but
if someone had handed him a guitar when he was a kid, maybe something great. You know?
I think so. I really do.
Well, guitar wasn't your first instrument, though, was it?
It was not.
What was your first
I
instrument?
started on the saxophone.
Saxophone. What happened? Did you enjoy the saxophone?
Yes, I did enjoy the saxophone. I always was drawn to the guitar for whatever reason. Long before I had ever played one, I wanted to play one. Why?
Okay.
I don't know. Why does anything happen?
Well,
I don't know.
think I know the answer, but go on. Saxophone.
So I started on saxophone, and I did enjoy it. And when my uncle gave me my first guitar, it was a Fire Engine Red Charvel.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. I just threw my energy right there. I couldn't even tell you why.
Did you basically just stop playing sax entirely? Was that...
Oh, no. I didn't stop. I did both for a long time.
All right.
And then when I started working, I kind of focused on the guitar more. Every now and then I come out of saxophone retirement. I like to say.
Well, you played in, was it marching band, jazz band? What bands were you in high school?
Yeah, all the varieties of school bands. I played saxophone in the high school band. One year, the jazz band had 100 saxophone players trying out,
Yeah.
and not too many people on the guitar, which is rare.
Yeah.
Usually there's 100 guitar players.
Yeah, I mean,
And a couple more, you know?
You can't throw a rock without hitting a guitar player.
Sure.
That's for sure, yeah.
I throw more rocks. So I wound up, in school, I wound up playing the guitar in the jazz band, too.
All right. Well, your earlier influences, I assume, if you liked guitar, and just judging by your sound on stage, I've seen you not hundreds of times or anything, but definitely a bunch of times, over a dozen, more, however many times, live. Aside from however many times I've listened to you on recordings.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
here probably more than
here
a dozen
alone, a dozen times
yeah,
minimum.
Yeah, easy.
But I would say when I listen to it, it's got this, a throwback feeling of like Jimi Hendrix style stuff, but then you also hear something like maybe Black Crowes or Lenny Kravitz or something like that. Like it's
100%.
proper rock and roll with distortion. I'm shredding here.
Absolutely, and that's where most of my major influences lie.
That's why I assume, like, no wonder you played guitar. Like, you were probably listening to a lot of alternative.
That's the stuff.
Guitar rock.
Yeah, definitely.
What were some of your favorite bands as far as alternative rock bands? Were there any that stand out specifically?
Oh man.
Or did I just name all two of them?
No, huge Hendrix fan, huge Lenny fan, obviously. Growing up, I liked being exposed to older stuff like Hendrix. And taking it back to my dad for a second, one thing that was really cool about him was, speaking of the Black Crowes, when Hard to Handle was on the radio, I remember we'd be in the car, hey, turn the song up. And he goes, all right, boy. Step in my office. And he'd play me the Otis Redding version.
Yeah.
And so that was always a thing. One time for his birthday or something, I gave him a Rolling Stones greatest hits CD, and he said, "You like these songs?" I said, "Yeah, I like the song." He says, "Which one do you like?" I said, "I like Time Is On My Side." He goes, "Step in my office." And he hears me to Irma Thomas.
Yeah.
And this was a regular occurrence in my childhood.
Yeah.
So that's a huge influence. Bringing it back to, at the same time all this is going on, I'm still checking out Soundgarden.
Yeah.
And listening to Red Hot Chili Peppers and just all that great rock music that was coming out around that time. So it was cool. I got the best of both worlds.
Many of whom did not feature saxophones as well.
True.
So you started playing guitar in high school, but what made you look to New Orleans for college? You got a scholarship to come to Loyola, is that right?
I did.
Was it for a saxophone or for guitar?
It was for the guitar.
Okay.
Honestly, though, I would have moved to New Orleans anyway.
You think so?
I do think so.
Like you had heard, you had seen?
I had heard, I had seen. I
I
came down here when I was 17 years old. My dad and I came down here one weekend, and I was never quite the same after. And then another year had gone by before I moved down here full time. But yeah.
Interesting. So Loyola, who were you in school with at Loyola? Were there any people that you were coming up with that are still around that you play with today, see around today?
Let's see. Dan Ostreicher was there at the same time I was, and so we played.
He's in a band. What band is he in?
He's in. You were talking about him earlier. I forgot the name.
I think it's Trombone Shorty in Orleans Avenue. Yeah,
them.
Same band. Yeah, got it.
So we no, but honestly, we've been all over the world together now, and we've known each other a really long time. So, and
let me cut you off, because those years, the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, I've talked about this on the program with, I think I brought it up with Chris Royal, and same thing with Big Sam. Like, there's about 5 or 6 years from the early 2000s going back to the late 90s where there was just something really special that was happening coming through New Orleans, like youth,
Definitely.
like the teenagers becoming adults, the NOCA classes, the Loyola classes we're putting out like an extremely special breed of musician that seemingly, at least my interpretation, is the best talent this city has offered in 50 years. All came.
It was a special time that I feel very grateful and honored that I'm not even throwing myself in that group, but I was.
At the very least, surrounded by
yeah,
them.
exactly.
And
yeah.
Here you are, along for the ride with your buddy Dan, and also with Troy and everyone else.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it was special. It was special then too. Everybody seemed to know it too.
Yeah,
which was cool. And then that led to when Katrina happened. In the years immediately following Katrina, it was this kind of music played a big role in that, big role in that for a lot of people, and that lot of people now were spread out all over the place.
Yeah, but music is one of the things that helped the city come back.
Absolutely.
And I wonder, not to talk too much current events, because we like to be kind of timeless on the show, but
sure.
it would be silly not to point out the obvious of the current events of things being closed because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like, I would wish that government, not even locals, or not even city, but state, nation, whatever else, would recognize how big a role music can play in helping people
it's
through
true.
something like this.
Absolutely.
No one in city government, there's an Office of Cultural Economy that's kind of has enough of its own issues being as broad and vague as it is. There is not a single music representative in city government in New Orleans. In a city of music, there is not a single musical representative working in the government. I'm not expecting anything crazy out of you. I'm just pointing it out. Like, how silly is it that that's true?
It is indeed silly.
There's other cities that have music.
Somebody should be. There should be a voice.
Yeah, there should. There absolutely should. I'm not nominating you or anything like that. I'm just.
I thought that's where we were going with this.
No, absolutely not. I do want to start pointing that out more and more. I feel like that needs to be part of the conversation. Let's get back to you though. When did you meet Troy?
I met Troy. Had to be late 2003, I believe.
All right. So you were in school, obviously.
I was in school.
Yeah.
And we met at the Funky Butt, I believe was the first place we met, which was a club where I
on Rampart. Oh, no,
yeah, you remember the Funky Butt?
We talked with Big Sam about the Funky Butt.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot about playing in that place because I would play there with one band or another. I would play there at 7:30 on Saturday nights, and sometimes on Monday nights too. And you played an early show at 7:30, and then there would be sometimes the late show was upstairs.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was downstairs, and it was. I just feel like I got to see and hear so much great stuff that. I'd go there one day and it might be Bo Dallas playing that night.
Yeah.
But other nights it might be, I don't know, Astral Project. And other nights, Clarence Gatemouth Brown shows up. Maybe he wasn't even supposed to show up, but he came to play with Joe Cronin.
That place was a beacon for sure. Yeah. A beacon. It's
all
very
kinds
much
all kinds of great stuff.
Yeah, it's a sad thing that we had to lose. Again, it's the sort of thing that I talked with Sam about at length because it was the kind of place that really attracted me when I first got to New Orleans as well. And we're not the only ones, for sure. That place was an absolute magnet. Yeah,
definitely.
For music and just music lovers, for sure.
And so we met there. Well, he was playing there on one of those nights, and we met. And then later on, I remember I was playing there. We had talked on the phone about playing some gigs sometime.
Yeah.
And I was playing there once. It was the middle of summer. It was me, 3-4 guys in the band. There's nobody in the club. It's 100 degrees.
Yeah.
At 7:30 at night, it's 100 degrees. I remember the bartender, like, she's back there reading the book. and Troy comes in and sat and listened for a while. And then afterwards he says, "Okay, you want to come play? You want to come play here next, whatever?" I said, "Yeah." And so we go to play. And for his gig, there's a bunch of people there, obviously, right?
Okay.
So,
Yeah, he was already a bit of a phenom, for sure.
Yeah. And so even that was this great experience where the gig went well, and I did good and everything, but I also learned a bunch because it was a lot of things happened this night. One of which was, you remember Miles Wright? Did you know him?
I don't think so.
He was a dude around town who kind of played anything he can get his hands on.
All right.
And so before the gig starts, Troy says, "Oh, by the way, Miles, you know Miles, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I know that guy. He's gonna come play bass for the first set. Then Mike's gonna come for the second set." I was like, "Great." And so Miles Wright shows up, and he's got, instead of a bass, he's got an electric guitar with 3 broken strings. So we've got like the middle 3 strings on there. And I'm like, all right, well, we're doing this. And so we start playing, and I'm trying to fumble through the bass part of the song just because I have some low strings, right? But then Miles starts playing, chink, chink, and he just plays the funkiest stuff I'd ever heard somebody play.
With 3 strings.
With 3, yeah. And I was kind of like, it was just sort of, I just remember it was a very impactful experience.
Yeah.
I was like, right, this is how this is done, you know? And it was cool because I felt like I was sort of being immersed in this culture and this music that a lot of songs that are part of the fabric of our whole thing down here, you're not going to learn in school.
No.
Or you're not going to find them in the real book or any of this stuff.
No, sometimes you have to learn them in front of hundreds of people.
Right, right. So sometimes you have to listen, you know what I'm saying? And so I realized that, like, oh my God, these dudes have all known these songs since they were 9 years old, and I'm just hearing this stuff. I gotta get on it, and I'm starting to learn this stuff. Meanwhile, I was coming at it from the rock and roll side, and Troy and the fellas, they liked that, and they were like, we can do this music, but we also want to do that music. And I remember I had a distortion pedal on there, and Troy says, "Step on that thing again and play more of that." And I was like, I think we're gonna get along just fine.
That's great, man.
It was cool.
So you brought the rock and roll to the band then?
I mean, some of it.
Well, watching a Trombone Shorty and Orleans Avenue show, it's not a funk show, it's not a blues show, it's not an R&B show, it's not a rock show. Like, it is just a high energy show.
That is true.
I think that's one of the reasons why people love to go see it so much, is because, you know, you're dancing, you're jumping one song, and you're holding your special person close or whatever else, but like, it's all over the place, and it is a visceral experience. Yeah, it is, and it's cool seeing that in different places throughout the world. And sometimes when people see it and they have that experience, it's some really funny conversations happen. One time this guy comes up to us after show, he goes, "I saw you at the Blues Fest, and I realized what I like about you guys. It's blues with a little bit of metal." We're just kind of like, what? Yeah, totally,
like,
man.
Yeah, sure.
Dude. Ain't it cool?
Like, yeah, whatever works. You know, tell your friends.
So, tell me, I want to talk about, you know, like you said, going around and kind of surprising people with your sound sometimes. But the early years, I want to go back to that. How did all of the pieces get? Because there hasn't been it's not all same original members, but there hasn't been too much shift. It's not like the whole band has had a complete facelift. Like,
true,
you guys have all been there for a while. There's not a lot of turnover in your band.
We've been there for a very long time.
How did all the pieces come together?
Well, you
were still in college at the time, right?
I was still in college at the time.
And you guys were already playing regular gigs professionally. Did you finish college?
I did, actually.
Okay.
I did.
All right.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is
no one's probably asked to see your degree since.
I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
So when I joined the band, Joey Peebles and Mike bass were there already. Joey was still in high school.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was like 16 or 17.
Right.
The first time I saw you guys play here, it was a thing because he wasn't even allowed in the building originally. But there's a law that allows.
It was a thing.
Yeah. It was brought up that he is.
It was funny because I was not. Speaking of the Funky Butt, I was not of legal age when I would play there.
Yeah.
Well, I can still drink there, but then I go to play with the. Then I go to play with the band, and they're kind of like, "Oh no, not tonight, Pete." Like, your drummer's 16, his mom's right there.
Doesn't matter.
Like,
the bartenders, the Funky Butt, were in high school too. So it doesn't-
Right.
Yeah, it's all right.
So Troy, Joey, Mike, and I came in there, and the four of us have been doing it since before Katrina.
Yeah.
And Dan's been in the group a really long time too.
Yeah, well, I thought he was with you guys before Katrina also, but maybe I'm not.
Dan,
remembering
forgive
that
me if
correct.
I'm getting this wrong. I think he was afterwards though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And we played a couple gigs. That was my first time flying to a gig.
Yeah. Where did you fly to?
I flew from Chicago to New York.
Okay.
We were all in September of 2005. We were all in different cities. And some gigs, we played 2 gigs. We played a gig at Choate, which is a big-time high school in Connecticut.
Okay.
And we played a party at Yale.
All right.
And that was the first time I flew somewhere to go play.
Let's go play a Yale party.
Go play a Yale party. What was funny is it was like the movies.
Yeah.
It was like a American Pie, Animal House kind of scene in there. Way more than any experience I ever had.
Okay.
In any school.
Yeah, the Loyola Music Program kids.
I mean,
yeah.
it was just funny. Yeah.
So, I guess if you guys were flying for gigs by now, or flied for a gig, was there an inkling that this is really going to be a long-term thing? Is this is going to be successful? Or, hey, I'm going to just keep doing this for as long as I can, and then maybe I'll find something else. Maybe another band will take me. Like, did you guys know? I mean, again, like I said, sorry to cut you off. Troy was already, like, people had known him since he was a kid. You know, he kind of had a music career
definitely.
laid out, not laid out for him, but
the mindset was we're going for it.
Okay.
It was, I never thought, I'll do this until somebody picks me up. But I also never thought, this is a sure thing, because what's a sure thing?
Yeah.
There aren't, you never know.
No such thing.
But the common thought that everybody had was, okay, we're going all in here. We're taking a shot, because when Katrina happened, Troy was playing in Lenny Kravitz's band, and he was, that was his college.
Yeah.
That's where he's learned about rock and roll and everything there too. And he got off that tour. We were all back in town by that point, and we went for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wonder when he gets a call to go hit the road with Lenny Kravitz or a special guest with whoever else, and he is individually flying all over the place. Those early years, was there a concern that he might just leave us all behind, because he's obviously riding a star? Like, or not riding a star, but he's
I wouldn't
he's
really
on the
think
fast track. Like, he's definitely blowing up real fast. Hopefully that we can keep this band together.
I thought it was the coolest thing.
Yeah, well,
Because,
obviously it's the coolest thing.
yeah.
Your friend is playing with Lenny Kravitz nightly.
Right, right. And we didn't really think it was going to be, we thought that would just be the beginning of things instead of the end of things.
Awesome. That's pretty great.
It was cool.
People often tout him as a phenom, like I said before, because it's obvious that he is obviously super talented. To what would you owe the success of the band? Is it his leadership? Is it everyone's work ethic? What kind of things do you think really owe to the longevity of the band, I guess?
A lot of factors there. All the stuff you just mentioned.
We got time, bro.
And
I'm not
also-
going anywhere. I'll kick my feet
It's
up.
all the stuff you just mentioned, and I think it's a unique mix of musicality and just the visceral, let's have a good time, high energy experience. I think that is what, when people come to the show, that's what gives them the breath of fresh air. It's both. There's the musical prowess, but it's not too intellectual at the same time. It's also a party.
Yeah.
I think that's what kind of propels the thing.
Well, it's obviously a party, and for the audience, they feel that party for sure. I only say it because of the how many hundreds, thousands, whatever bands that I've seen perform here, and however many sound checks I've had to sit through, I enjoy y'all's sound check more than anyone else. And maybe it's even just here because it's Bacchus Sunday or whatever. Like, maybe it's just because it's a hometown show at a tight club. It's going to be full of a lot of friends and family and a lot of people that you know.
I love that feeling.
But when you guys are doing your sound check, it's not a sound check, it's a rehearsal. Is that...
That is very true.
Is that also routine? Is that how it is?
That is routine,
okay.
And I will say this. I love the way we sound check.
Okay, it's phenomenal because I've seen, Troy is a music conductor and he's making sure everyone's hitting. And if someone is half-assing it at sound check, he will call them out. Like,
absolutely.
I've absolutely seen him call every one of you guys out for like, come on, man, play the part like you're going to play the part, or whatever he would say.
Play it like we play it.
Yeah,
that's
like,
exactly
someone's
right.
Like, this guy, maybe Dan is just kind of leaning in a little bit, or you're not really hitting the chords the way you're supposed to.
Well,
like,
full on.
Yeah, you guys don't just sound. Your sound check is not a line check. Your sound check is a literal. We need to sound like we're going to sound right now.
Totally.
Not the guitar, the band. The band needs to sound.
No, it's either doing the thing like we're going to do the thing, or working some, or if it varies from that, we're going to play something that we would never actually, we're going to play something that somebody was listening to in the green room on their headphones. We're going to fumble through that just for fun.
Okay.
And in that's how the sound gets checked, which is nice because you're not sitting up there like, a little more, a little less.
No, dude.
Which, hey, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's nice to not have to do it.
No, you let the guys do that for a half hour, 45 minutes before you get up there, whatever. But sometimes I enjoy the sound check more than the show. That sounds crazy and stupid, but only because it's a private show.
Sure.
I get to stand wherever I want. I can just enjoy it.
You do that anyway.
I do that anyways, but there's not so many drunk people around me. It's different.
Yeah.
Man, the customers sure are a nuisance. This job would be so much better without the customers. No, I'm kidding. We miss the customers.
Well, here we are.
Dearly. Like, it's one of those things, not that I ever loathed the customers, but, however many nights a year, just shoulder to shoulder with drunk, loud people all the time.
Yeah. It's a lot.
When you're doing it often, you get used to it, but when it's gone, and, there are nights that are tough. You never really think that you're going to miss it, and I wholeheartedly miss it. As far as the band, in all these years now, having the Nevilles sit in with you, the Meters, playing with the Foo Fighters and the Chili Peppers, and I want to get some stories about those guys as well.
Sure.
Aside from them and every other premier act that this country has seen in the past decade plus, who else is still on the wish list? Who's still when are we going to get to play with this guy, Troy?
Ooh, man. That's a very good question.
Do you still have any of those, or is it kind of like...
Sure. Like, I'm sure. There's always somebody. Now I'm just thinking of all, especially.
It's like, well, you got to play with U2. When do we get to play with U2?
Well, it's thinking about how it's hard because what's also going through my head right now is all these great experiences I have had, and it's kind of. Especially, not to date the interview, but the time we're living in, it does kind of make me think, oh, wow, we've really done some cool stuff. We really know something special here.
You guys have done one or two cool shows, for sure.
Yeah. But, man, who else would I like to play with? Man, I don't even know.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit about, I guess, who did you guys go out with first? Was it Foo Fighters or Chili Peppers?
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters, okay. Because I remember you guys had to cancel a show here, I think, because you got picked up
my
by
God,
the Foo
dude.
Fighters.
Well, man,
It was we forgave you, obviously. It's okay.
That was, I want to say that was in the winter of 2015, perhaps.
It was around there.
It was around then.
Was that the first time you guys were doing like an arena tour?
I feel like that was the first time we did it night to night.
Okay.
We may have had that experience opening for. See, we did a tour like that with Lenny too. I can't remember which.
Did you?
came
Okay,
first.
I didn't know if that was multiple nights. I thought that was.
We did a run with him in Europe. That was like that. The Foo Fighters tour was over there as well, and that was the tour where Dave Grohl had a broken leg, so they built this giant throne, and so we were in Krakow, Poland, right, and it's winter.
Yeah.
We're in Krakow, Poland. You know, it gets dark at 3 p.m. kind of place.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in the dressing room of what must have been a, I don't know, ice hockey arena or something. And so the door opens up, and see this giant boot come in. Like, not boots like I'm wearing now, like a medical boot. You know what I'm saying? Not a cast, but the boot that they give you.
For sure.
And it's Dave Grohl, and he kind of comes in with the broken foot, and he goes, "Welcome to Poland, man." And he does this little dance, and walks out.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was really funny.
That's hilarious. So that was your introduction to Dave Grohl?
That was my introduction to Dave Grohl.
Broken foot dance.
Yeah, and then it was also I learned a valuable lesson that night too, which is, as the opening act, sometimes the place is full, sometimes not. Sometimes the people are excited about it. Sometimes, hey,
we're not here to see you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So every now and then, I've found myself in a situation where opening up for this big act in a place where maybe the big names don't always go through there. Krakow, Poland is one such place.
I mean, again, it's such a tourist hotspot.
Right, I know. Cultural mecca.
Yeah.
And so, let me tell you what, these people were ready to rock.
Yeah.
At 7 p.m.
Right on.
And the place was packed. And it was such a great show. And the crowd was so appreciative. We even talked to people afterwards saying, "Hey, thank you for coming."
Yeah.
Nobody comes here. It's so nice to not have to travel 3 hours to see a concert.
Yeah,
and that's just, I could come here and see a concert. It's not...
I guess it could have been anybody, but...
Still, though, we had
any entertainment,
Right. No, we had a similar... when we were out with the Chili Peppers, every show of that tour was amazing in its own way. Let me tell you what, Omaha, Nebraska rocked out.
Yeah. What else have they got going on?
Yeah, it's so...
No offense, Omaha.
No. In fact, thank you.
Yeah, no. They loved it. You guys hadn't been supporting anyone for a long time before you started doing those tours, huh? Like, when was the last time you guys had to open for a band before the Foo Fighters?
Oh, man.
I mean, I'm not talking about on a festival bill when there's 100 people playing.
Sure, so you're talking about a regular...
Yeah, a tour.
Man, it's hard to say.
So I feel like you guys have been at least a headlining club act for the
yeah,
better part
we
of
would
15
headline
years,
we would headline clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we would link up with we did a run before then with Tedeschi Trucks Band.
Okay.
Where and that would have been in theaters as opposed to clubs.
Yeah.
And that I love them, by the way. That was
phenomenal.
Absolutely phenomenal.
You mentioned Poland. What was the first country that you guys played, or maybe even the first city in the United States that first really caught on, where it was like, we're hitting this market every time we leave town?
Outside of New Orleans?
Yeah.
I would say New York and San Francisco.
Okay, those seem a little obvious. Maybe.
Right, and then after that, Denver.
Denver?
And
yeah, they got a big music following in Denver for sure.
Yeah, and also playing shows in Atlanta and Houston were always fun too, because there were a lot of transplants post-Katrina in those cities. And so that would be a different kind of energy. And it was it was a really good feeling to be able to bring a little bit of the spirit to folks who may have been displaced,
Yeah,
or
they miss it.
some people were displaced. Other people, maybe they weren't planning on living wherever, but
Yeah.
they meet somebody or an opportunity happens, or you never know in life.
No, for sure. And I couldn't have said it better than that for sure. What countries out of the United States? Like where
Started catching on quick.
Yeah. Where would you say internationally?
Internationally, Germany.
Yeah.
Germany.
They're music lovers out there.
They're
for
music
sure.
lovers in Germany, and we there were times we would go and just do a tour of Germany.
Yeah.
And France after that. Then there were started getting a really good reception in France, and the festival scene over there too.
Yeah.
In the summertime, we would go over there and play Montreux Jazz Festival, North Sea Jazz Festival.
Excellent.
Something I've noticed in other cultures is sometimes there might not be as visual a reaction, like from my point of view.
Yeah.
Like you might not see too much movement. At the same time, you might see or hear a response to, I don't know, a fill, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And for me, the way to look at it is,
It's like, you guys didn't like that solo? What the hell, man?
I know, it was a little shook. I know, like, really tired.
No,
No, but it's different. It's different, and so, how to, just kind of look at it as this isn't a good or a bad thing. This is how the folks listen to music over here. I'll tell you this though. We played before Larry Graham in Marseille one time, and those people were moving.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Larry Graham.
Well, you know what? What kind of tell me a funny horror story from the road.
Funny horror story from the road.
Yeah, not a ghost story. Just like you won't believe when this terrible thing happened, because I think that stuff's always hilarious.
One time,
Sorry.
I got food poisoning
All right, that's not funny, but tell me.
on stage. It wasn't funny. But you didn't say funny. You said
No.
you wanted
story.
a horror
It
story.
sounds horrifying.
It was horrifying and horrible.
Where were you?
I was at the. It's closed now. It was at a club called the Lion's Den, which is in Greenwich Village.
Okay.
And it was the Lion's Den when we were playing there. It later became Sullivan Hall.
All right.
So we were having, the usual fun sound check / rehearsal. And we were about to, had a little bit of time to kill before the gig. I said, usually we're in New York. I love New York. I like to walk around and doing this and doing that, right? Doing the thing.
No, man, it's a great city.
Yeah. So this particular night, I was like, I'm gonna go to the hotel for a minute. That should have been my sign that something was off. Anyway, I go back to the hotel. I'm really not feeling too good, but hey, the show must go on. And I'm really not feeling good. I start throwing up. It's just awful. And what was funny? I'm in the bathroom puking. It's like 10 minutes before we go on stage. I hear this, and it's Joey knocking on the door. And I'm like, what? He comes in. I gotta talk to you. I was like, what? What? He like leans in the bathroom while I puke. He just goes, what song do you want to start with? I was like, I don't care. And so I was like, all right, I can do this. I put a bar stool. I was like, surely it's done. Like, I can't puke any more from this,
That's what you think.
That's what I thought. And so we go and put a bar stool on the stage. And this is sort of in the days where this was in the early days, so it wasn't really of like, this is the back line we're going to rent out for the show. It was more like a, hey, this is what's here kind of situation.
Yeah.
Which, luckily for me, that night was a Marshall half stack.
All right.
And so I think I made it like half a song where I was like, oh God. And like the rest of the set, I was sitting behind the amp
Oh man, just leaning over.
Oh, it was awful. It was horrifying. It was
How'd
horrifying.
you sound? Did you play the songs?
I mean, I played a song.
All right.
I played a song, and then I think they were just like, I think after a while they were just pulling guitar players out of the crowd.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it's lucky because I know Troy plays a little guitar.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
so.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, he can make anything sound good. He got through it.
Totally. Yeah. Does that ever bother you that seemingly he can play everyone's instrument just as good as them?
I was really happy for it that night.
Finally, it pays off, I guess.
Yeah.
That's great. Then that's horrible. Actually,
It was horrible.
What did you eat, by the way? I don't know if you said that.
That was the weirdest thing, man. It was a slice of pizza.
Oh.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And
there's a million places to get pizza.
what was
that is edible.
what was worse about it was like the guy that was like the guy promoting the show was kind of like, food poisoning, huh? And I'm like, what are you implying? What? And he's like, never heard of anybody getting sick off of pizza. And I'm like, man, get out of here. Like,
it's not common. It's not common. Not to show favoritism to too many clubs, except this one. What are your favorite stages to play? Do you have any rooms that
Give
were...
me a hard one next time, right?
Well,
here.
we'll go ahead and assume Tipitina's is obviously the favorite.
It really is, though. It really is, though.
I mean, well, tell me a little bit about that. Like, do you remember the first time you played here?
I do. We played here. It was a free Friday.
Yeah?
We played a free Friday.
Was the first time you played here was a free Friday?
It was a free Friday.
No, you must have played here before Free Friday. We didn't start till Free Fridays till like 06 or 07, I think.
Well, okay, the first time I played here with Trombone Shorty, anyway,
Okay.
was
Was it really a Free Friday?
It was a free Friday. Yes.
Interesting.
It was a free Friday.
Back when we used to probably pay a decent amount for Free Friday.
It was no, it was a free Friday.
We never paid good for Free Fridays, just so everyone knows. We never.
I know. No.
It's a free show.
It was what was it? It was. I feel like it was in the summertime.
It's always it's in the summer.
Yeah, it was in the summertime. It was a free Friday. I remember Pharrell was playing at the House of Blues that night.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, oh man, what if everybody goes to the Pharrell show? Well, whatever. We gotta go do the gig. And man, it was awesome. It was one of those. It was one of those experiences where it's certain places you hear about how cool they are.
Yeah.
And every now and then, a place is actually that cool. And that's what happened that night on that free Friday.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
great.
Are there any other rooms that you remember hearing about that were like kind of bucket list places? Like I talked to a couple of guys that were like, oh man, like I lived in New York for a while if I ever got to play the Beacon. And then we got to play the Beacon and it was the greatest thing ever. Are there any
I know
places?
those guys. They loved it.
Yeah. Totally. I mean,
The-
are there any other places like that?
The Fillmore in San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very
heard of it.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little place.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, the Fillmore was like that. Red Rocks is like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about your high school hometown, St. Louis?
Oh man, last summer we played at the Pageant,
Yeah.
which is a venue around the size of the Fillmore, I guess. Maybe
All right.
maybe a little smaller.
Substantial though.
Substantial.
Not some club.
It was not a club.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a theater, and it was a theater that I would go see. When I was in high school, I went to a lot of shows there,
All right.
and so that was a big one.
Who was the biggest band that you saw there in high school?
Biggest band that I saw there
Can
in
you
high
remember?
school. Oh man, I can't remember the biggest band that I saw in high school, but the one that really
Most
sticks
memorable.
out.
The one you got to make out with a girl at or something.
The Urge.
The Urge?
The Urge.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Urge.
You remember the Urge?
I do.
Yeah. Well, they were from St. Louis, and so like their shows, that was their big.
That was,
you know.
their big hometown show.
Yeah.
That's cool. So do you still have a lot of friends there when you guys played there last year? A lot of people come out?
I had some
From
people
the
come out.
Murano clan?
I don't have a ton of friends there anymore, but my parents came with a bunch of their friends. My brothers came. It was cool. It was a good
So you have
night.
more than one brother, huh? Two brothers? Are you
Two
the
brothers.
oldest?
I'm the oldest.
No kidding. How about
Yeah.
that? And the third one is not a musician?
The third one is the
Oh, the
musician.
second one is not a musician.
The second one, he is a news anchor.
Really?
Yeah.
On
Right now he is. Ooh man, forgive me, Joe. I believe it's the CBS affiliate.
In St. Louis?
In Springfield, Missouri.
No kidding.
Right
Springfield, Missouri, another hotbed of culture.
Yeah, exactly. And before that, he was the sports guy in Myrtle Beach.
You've been in a band for long enough now, and you told me that you've been in the studio on and off a little bit during this time. Have you ever thought about fronting a band at all?
I have a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you sing? I've never heard you sing. Maybe a couple of backup words
Yeah,
or
a little
phrases
bit,
here
a
and
little
there.
bit. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
That's there's only one way to answer that question.
All right.
Right?
All right.
He sang, therefore he sings.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So
no, I can sing. I can sing. How well? I'm gonna leave that up to you.
yeah, no, that's fine. But I mean, at least having the confidence to sing is all it really takes sometimes.
It's different, man.
Yeah, no,
it's different.
you will not see me singing
yeah.
in front of people.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Expand on that. What kind of stuff would you like to do as a frontman?
My stuff is. It's got one foot in the rock music that you would kind of expect from me, and I balance that out with a little bit of R&B and a little bit of acoustic stuff.
All right.
Because I feel like that's something that it need, like, for me anyway, it needs some balance. And it just can't be rocking every song out all the time necessarily.
Okay.
So, like, what can I do? Like, for me, it's also, okay, well, how are we gonna sing? We're gonna sing loud. We're gonna sing soft. What kind of song is this? Where does the voice even exist? I don't know. Let's figure it out.
Well, so is this something you've already been pursuing this then?
A little bit. I've been recording some.
All right.
I mean, I'm kind of constantly writing music.
Okay.
Usually, I have in mind, okay, this is gonna go in this lane or that lane. And recently, I'm kind of like, okay, let me attempt this
All right.
and see what it sounds like.
Who's in the band? Can you share that with us? Is this still too new to talk about, or?
I mean, there's not any on. I've done some recordings recently where I had Mike Bass and Alvin Ford play with me.
Really?
I've been overdubbing everything else.
Couple talented fellas.
Couple talented fellas. Yeah. And
for
we
sure.
had. Let me tell you what. We had a really fun couple days in the studio too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's exciting. Well, when is there a possibility of hearing this anytime soon, or is this still just a project that you guys are playing with before you want to share it with anybody?
I'm thinking sometime in the fall,
Yeah?
I'll put out a couple songs.
Is there a name for it, or are you just going to name it after yourself? Pete Murano Band.
I'm gonna name it after. I mean, what you got? I don't know. I think myself for now.
Man.
It's hard, right?
No, it's not
That's
that
what's
hard. We can come up with all kinds of silly... Dude, coming up with band names is
Against
just kind
the
of
grain.
Against the grain, yeah. Slice Against the Grain. Maybe that's the name of the band.
That sounds like a song title, but yeah.
Yeah, but anything could be a band name or a song title. You know, it could be Bucket Condensation, you know? Like, why not?
It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. There you go. Brown Liquor in a Glass. There.
Brown Liquor in a Glass.
That could be a band name, too.
I like that. Cold beer.
Everything works as a band name if you really wanted to. I mean, between Mike and Alvin, like, two powerhouses, and with you on guitar. Like,
Totally.
So, you guys are recording ideally in the fall. People might actually get to hear this sort of thing?
Yeah.
All right. Any other plans for it beyond that, or are you just literally testing the waters for it? Was this something you've been thinking of, but
I mean,
now it worked out?
It's sort of, for me, it's kind of like, okay, I have these tunes.
I mean, were they
Let's
the
get 'em.
sort of songs that maybe, like, when you guys write band or songs with the band with Trombone Shorty and Orleans Avenue, it's collaborative often. It's not like he's writing everything. You guys work together to write a lot of these songs,
It goes. I mean, it goes all different ways. You
Yeah.
know, there's some stuff that there's a lot of stuff we do very collaboratively. There's some stuff that Troy brings in. Maybe somebody else brings in something else. It's kind of funny because there's no. If there was a formula that worked every time, we would probably just do that every time.
Yeah.
But so that's part of the fun, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, so these songs, I mean, like you said, you're writing all the time. Were these songs that you've been sitting on for a while, or are they something that you kind of brought about in the past 6-7 months since you've been home?
Both.
All right.
Both. There's some stuff I've been sitting on a while that I'll go ahead and cut, and then after doing it, I realize, well, this could be better. Let's. And then before you know it, you've rewritten the entire song.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, same thing. It's both.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can look forward to seeing or hearing this sometime in the fall, ideally, at the very least.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you. I mean, this might have already answered the question, but what have you learned about yourself or your musical ability, moreover, in this time off of not touring and staying put, staying home?
I have learned that the acoustic guitar is a beautiful thing. I got him. I mean,
That's what you learned?
that's one of the things.
All right. Well, I mean,
I can
musically
cook a mean
speaking-
tuna.
Tuna and acoustic guitars. That's your band name right there. Seared Tuna. Seared acoustic tuna. I don't know. Maybe that's already a band.
I think that is band. I saw them. I saw them at Bonnaroo.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds familiar. There's another band. I think it's a band at least that I was able to find just by searching your name on YouTube called The Human Experience.
Oh yeah.
What is Human Experience? Because I heard a song that featured you and it was really cool.
So he is a DJ,
All right.
and he was in town for Jazz Fest some years ago, and he is friends with actually, cheers to our friend Rock, who just passed away.
All right. Well, cheers, Rock.
There you go. He calls me up one day. And he says, "Hey, my friend's in town. He's a DJ. He's got these. He's looking for somebody to collaborate with."
Do you
And-
tell them off? It's Jazz Fest and their birthdays next week.
It was I thought about it. It was the day. It was the day after the last day of Jazz Fest.
All right.
And he was in town for one more day, and I was kind of like, I was going to eat an entire pizza today.
Yeah, there's a lot of day
But-
after Jazz Fest promises to get
You know,
broken
and I
every year.
just said, look, tell him to come by the house, give him my number, whatever. We'll what I thought was gonna be like, okay, like I'll give you some live guitar for a couple hours,
yeah,
and
a
you
couple
can
riffs,
chop
whatever.
it up, do what you're gonna do, and we actually kind of hit it off, and ended up doing 2 or 3 tunes that day, and it was just kind of, I remember it was one of those things where I'm listening to his stuff, and I'm kind of playing along a little bit, and then after a while, something kind of clicked, and I was like, hang on, like. Then I'm moving furniture. We're like, and we did the tunes, and yeah, and he's got, I think he has a band now called Gone Beyond,
Okay.
which is a band,
All right.
implying.
Yeah, no, you
members.
said he was a DJ.
Yeah.
But he's also a musician, not just a DJ.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I mean, check that out, people, if you haven't heard it. Again, just a random YouTube search of your name brought that up, so I had to click on it and check
There
it
it
out.
is. Got to click
And
on
it
it.
was pretty cool, man. Like, it was an interesting sound for
It was
sure.
cool. It was a cool song.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to jump back into another question from Ed Williams of the Revivalists.
Now we're getting to the hard-hitting questions.
Not really. Like I saw him yesterday, and I was telling him, "Oh, I got Pete coming on the program tomorrow night." He goes, I said, "Do you have any questions for him? You know him, right?" He goes, "Oh yeah, man. I want to find out what his seared tuna recipe is. Tell me that." So yeah, oil, salt, pepper, garlic powder, like whatever, like hot skillet, hot griddle, or whatever.
That was very good.
Yeah, it wasn't a recipe. Like that's just how you cook things. No offense.
Hey,
It
no.
takes a touch to do it right. But he was
No.
acting like, oh, there's this thing that Pete does. It's a seared tuna. I gotta know what it is. I was under the impression
That's
that
my whole thing, though,
that
man.
you had served him food.
Check me out on I have, but like check me out on Instagram. Like anything I'm doing, you can also do.
What's your Insta handle?
Pete Murano at Pete Murano.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Search it below in the description. Or Nick, I'll tell you what, Tanner, go to the 2-shot. Do it real fancy in letters right above our faces. Nick thinks he's an editing wizard now. So put it up. We're looking at, what was it, at Pete Murano?
That's it.
Perfect. All right.
Love
and
it.
go ahead and show a picture of seared tuna or something else up there while you're still in the 2-shot. All right. I hope that's enough.
My seared tuna.
Yeah. His seared tuna. Yeah.
Or
not
Ed's.
just any old. Yeah. Ed can't cook. Come on. He's asking how to cook tuna. No. I asked him any other questions, or what kind of questions should I ask? Do you have any fun questions? So maybe this will be a regular part of this program, which is musicians asking musicians questions.
I like this. This is a good segment.
Here's the other one. He goes, yeah, man, ask him what saving it up means. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, man, find out what it means to be saving it up.
Saving it
So
up.
tell me about saving it up.
All right.
He explained it a little bit, but I was like, that's not a thing. Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
So
I'm gonna pour another finger of whiskey. for that.
that's
Yeah.
saving it up.
Yeah. All right.
It's very appropriate, actually, what you're doing there.
All right.
So
Tell me about saving it up.
okay, so once upon a time, it was the night before, I believe, a crew de vue,
All right.
right? And Ed and I are talking. You coming out tonight? What are we doing? I said, oh, man, I'm not coming out. I'm definitely not coming all the way uptown. Like, I'm just, crew de vue's tomorrow. I'm saving it up for that. And he goes, all right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay, good. Talk to you tomorrow. And then I do end up going out that night.
Mm-hmm.
And I do end up coming uptown. So I immediately hit up Ed. And I'm like, hey, look, I'm coming uptown, turns out. So, let's do it. So we end up, we're hanging out, and we go to this place, and we go to that place.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, fast forward, it's like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And we're sitting on my couch, which is downtown.
All right.
And Ed's there, and so we're sitting there like, it's been a long night. It's still crew de vue tomorrow,
Yeah.
except tomorrow is now today.
It's now, yeah, 12
and we're kind
hours
of, the
from
sun's
now,
coming
yeah.
up, and he's kind of looking out the window and goes, saving it up for tomorrow, huh? and so ever since that, I was like, oh, we saving it up tonight?
Saving it up.
We're saving it up.
Saving it up. That's great, man.
Yeah.
That is great.
No, pour yourself another finger there. We're saving it up.
We're going to start ramping down. You've been super generous with your time, and we've been missing the Saints game this whole time, too, so I absolutely want to catch up with
Hey,
that.
don't date the interview.
Yeah, no, this I wanted to make sure we got this for sure. Like you said, you were available. I'm going to jump all over it. So thank you again for your time. Something that we ask all the guests. It came up. We're going to talk po' boys, so more food.
Ooh.
Yeah. When talking with Stanton Moore, he's in a band called Galactic. They're my boss. I don't know if you heard that.
Band of Proprietors, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The Guardians of Tipitinas.
Absolutely, for sure. Stewards, even, as they like to call themselves.
Yeah, you're the Guardian. They're the stewards.
It's interchangeable. Well, I'm the janitor here, so that's about as good as it goes. Do you have a favorite po' boy spot? Do you have a favorite po' boy? But more specifically, if you were going to create the Pete, what is on the Pete? And you're a food guy, so we're actually expecting some good stuff out of you here.
Oh, man.
What's your go-to spot?
Okay.
Is it a neighborhood place? Do you go out of the way? What's your spot?
I mean, for me...
Free opportunity for a plug right here also.
So, for me, Birdie Mart,
Yeah.
fried shrimp po' boy,
Okay.
when you need it.
And they'll
There
bring
is
it to
nothing
you.
better
Yeah.
in the world.
They'll bring it to you also.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. So, I also really liked all that jazz. I also like fried shrimp plate with mac and cheese and a side of roast beef gravy.
We're talking po' boys specifically.
Get the fried shrimp.
Okay.
But add pickles.
All right. Not all places dress with pickles.
That's a thing, right? Some
yeah,
places
you
dress...
have to ask for pickles.
Okay,
Dressed
sometimes
is
dressed means
tomatoes,
lettuce, tomato, mayo.
Yeah.
And some people like pickles with that. Other people don't like the pickles. I like the pickles.
You got to ask for pickles. Most places
Right.
do not come standard dressed with pickles. For
Yeah.
Sure. That's a good one. I like that. Well, what is the Pete?
Okay, so...
The Freaky Pete.
So...
We finally found a use for the name again.
There we go. So if we're... There's not too many times, like, across the world where seafood and cheese go together.
Well,
there might
the
be
bomb,
courses.
like I said, the bomb.
There you go.
Catfish,
This is the thing.
It's grilled catfish, grilled shrimp, cheddar, and Swiss. And a lot of
There you
people,
go.
like you said, a lot of people just automatically discard that because it's crazy. But when you try it, it works, man.
I'm sure it works. And
yeah.
that's, for making a... we're talking po' boys here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
It's
not,
gonna
I'm
come
not
on
like I'm
French
not like
bread.
making like a sub. We're talking about
French
po'
bread,
boys.
a proper like Leidenheimer style
po' boy-
roll.
yeah, so-
or loaf.
I'm gonna take fried catfish and
All right.
fried shrimp with American cheese, dressed with extra pickles and hot sauce.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
The Freaky Pete, ladies and gentlemen. The Freaky Pete.
And the side of roast beef gravy
You want to like as a dipper?
as a dipper.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pour it over the top because that's been done.
Did you say cheddar
Just
cheese?
control
I
it.
already forgot.
I said American cheese.
American cheese.
Yeah. Which I know it's weird because it's not real cheese, but it melts better.
Does it though?
It does.
I mean, it melts, but does it melt better?
Melts better.
All right, I'm gonna let you go ahead and keep that for yourself. Maybe it's because you're from New Jersey. That might be a thing. That for some reason.
My New Jersey sandwich is a completely different sandwich.
Probably, yeah. It would be
Yeah.
a hero or something, right?
It would be that would be.
All right, yeah. We're
that-
New
that-
Jersey style. What's
that
your
would
sub or what's
be-
your hero?
You get semolina bread,
All right.
get some hot super side
That's sopressata for those of you that are not familiar.
for the Metagons.
Yeah. I have an Italian wife.
Yeah. And then some mortadella on top of that. Fresh mozzarella,
Yeah.
roasted red peppers, spicy peppers,
Yeah.
oil and vinegar. That's not a
too
po'
shabby.
boy, though.
Would you sprinkle with a little like some kind of salt or whatever else too? Would you do any
Oregano.
add-ons like
Oregano.
that? Oregano. All
Yeah.
right. That
The
makes
cheese
sense.
is salty enough. Why? Because on my sandwich we're using the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
you don't need to add extra salt. It's salty
All right.
enough.
Very good. Very good. I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed.
There we go. We got two
I'm gonna have to
sandwiches.
just crash your house and start eating some of your food. I imagine that you have a well-stocked
Oh, it's not
fridge.
a crash. You're welcome anytime. You
Thank
know
you,
that.
man. I appreciate it. Well, I have your number, so I'm definitely going to bother you because
There
I
we
know
go.
you're not that busy right
Please
now.
do.
We have no one leaves empty-handed. We have a certificate suitable for framing for
yes.
you attending here, so very much obliged. We're going to do the slow handoff so that we can get that for B-roll. There you go.
My degree.
Yeah, I finally got it. There's a
Yeah.
folder so you don't lose it. Go ahead and read it for
Oh.
me. There's nothing in the folder. That's just so you don't lose it.
Certificate suitable for framing for participation in the all right broadcast.
All right.
We hereby certify that you, Pete Murano, are officially awesome for being interviewed on this day, September 21st, 2020, for absolutely no monetary compensation whatsoever. Congratulations, and you're welcome.
You are welcome.
Now, whose folder did I get? That's
I don't
what
know.
wanna
It was just
we had a close up of
it's
this.
a secondhand folder.
Secondhand.
We're not buying
What
you a
is
new
it- What is this
folder.
hand-me-down
You
folder
think
I
we're
got
made
here?
of money? We're closed, bro. We don't even get to put on shows.
What does it say though?
I don't know.
don't
we
know.
have a whole stack of folders that are just sharpied out, so
Hey,
doesn't matter.
success.
Now it's yours, right there.
Love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pete Murano, be looking out this fall for the enter name of band here for whatever that's going to be the name of the band.
Pete Murano.
Is all right. Check out Pete Murano at Pete Murano on Instagram for all the good food porn pics, I guess.
That too.
At the very least, you get to see some seared tuna. Thank you so much. I'm going to go around the horn. Thank you so much to the great Pete Jones in the back doing lights and sound. Thank you so much to Tantan the Man upstairs running the cameras. Thank you to Nick Logan, who was our executive producer and our editor. Thank you to Tipatinas and Tipatinas.tv for hosting us here. And thank you so much to Nugs.net for allowing us to use the equipment. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Tune in next time for Tipatinas.tv. We'll have more interviews, more content, all kinds of great stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, Pete Murano. Was that fun?
That was a lot of
fun,
fun.
right?
Yeah, that was
Hope
fun.
you're not too drunk or anything. How many did you get through? Just
what?
two?
What,
Three?
two and a half?
You still have one in the bucket.
Two and a half people.
Still
Still
have
got one in the bucket. Another
Yeah,
good
man.
title.
I only went through 2.5 or one in the bucket.
Two and a half up. Something. That's good. What did you think? Was it good?
Yeah, man, that was great.
I mean,
we talked for an hour and 16 minutes.
hey.